Man, afternoon games.
Is this an afternoon game?
It's 5. Yeah, when does afternoon end, would you say?
I think this is an evening game.
This is an early evening game?
Apparently, it's still too late for Dev. You know
honest question. When is evening?
I think
it's 5.
It's 5 o'clock? Dang,
it's not 4 to 6.
I don't know. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show.
Let's go. Let's go.
The show where the fellas ponder the intricacies of everyday life, including when does evening begin. Nuggets in Golden State to take on the Warriors. The Surging Warriors tonight. The Surging Warriors, kind of. But it really kicks off Narrative Week 2.0 as the Nuggets have 6 straight toughies. Measuring stick games. You might say it's tough sledding ahead for the Nuggets here. We're going to break it all down and more. Also talk about what player we really hope to see and what things we hope to learn about the Nuggets as they face these challenges. To help me out, the man who dressed for a 5 o'clock start, Brendan Vogt.
It's Miller time, baby. Listen, it's a global warming Sunday, and that's not a complaint. I'm leaning in. I wore sunglasses. I walked to work. I wore a quarter sleeve button down. No one's soaking this up more than me, man.
Over here, I've got Harrison Wind.
I can see through Brendan Vogt's shirt.
That's the lighting.
The middle 2 buttons right now.
That's the lighting.
I got a direct view right in there.
To fix that for you.
The Denver Nuggets, who are owned by the capitalist vultures that are the Cronkies, are here to take on the capitalist vulture Lacob family in Golden State. And, you know, as cities are falling apart.
65 in February.
Harrison, can you help me preview this one? Give me game notes.
I'm loving it.
Let's hit the injury front first.
We're all gonna die eventually.
You guys done?
Sorry. I'm just matching energy over here.
Jamal Murray and KCP, both questionable coming into this game. Both are available and in the starting lineup for the Denver Nuggets.
What do you think of that, by the way? I mean, I'm worried about Murray. You know, we could shin splints, do they go away? I just feel like it's a hamstring almost, and that it's one of those injuries where, you know, it feels good until you play, and then it feels bad again.
I mean, Michael Malone said a couple days ago that it's going to be something they've got to manage all season. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned. Absolutely.
You have your concerns?
Absolutely.
You have your concerns, yeah. I have my concerns as well.
Absolutely. I mean, he might be... back-to-backs, forget about it. I think with him, luckily for the Nuggets, they don't have many of those left. But... I think he's going to be the guy the Nuggets have to think about resting the most down the stretch.
Oh, look who it is, fellas. Look who it is. Superstar Dev is in the building tonight.
What's up?
What do you got for us, Dev?
We're not on the betting segment yet.
We're excited for the game. Yeah. Great night at the bar. What else am I missing? Yoke's probably going to go off. He probably eats.
Okay, well, we're not there yet.
Then I'm not that late.
Man, hooped with Dev today for the first time in like 3 months. We were Jokic and Murray, and that I was Murray horribly out of shape.
Wow.
And Dev was cooking.
Were you over dribbling? Dev's like, can I get the ball?
Actually, you know what? Wasn't like Murray. I was just passing the rock today. So that was a little different. All right, back to our game.
So regular starters for the Nuggets and for the Warriors, they are almost fully healthy. They just have G. Santos, who is out, who's been getting some spot minutes for them in their rotation lately. Michael Malone pregame asked about a potential playoff role for Colin Gillespie at point guard if Jamal Murray or Reggie Jackson get hurt. He gave no indication that the Nuggets have considered converting him from his 2-way contract to make him eligible.
I wonder if that's because they're not going to.
He's just telling you how it is.
Yeah.
They're not converting Colin Gillespie. They've made zero thought about that as well, so it's not happening.
Who asked that question?
I don't know.
Well, great question, man. Great question. Very interesting question. Very interesting one. Yeah.
I can sense the sarcasm in your voice.
I mean, it is an interesting question. I'm being serious. The sarcasm is more about the absurdity of it, but whatever. I digest.
Steve Kerr pregame. He mentioned that tonight Draymond Green is guarding Nikola Jokic. like he talked about it like it's something that the Warriors are throwing out there to see how it works for maybe a potential playoff series.
I love it because, I mean, Draymond is like so prideful that they don't try to double team ever. They really think that he can guard these premier big men in the league. He just went one-on-one with Anthony Davis. I mean, Jokic presents his own mismatches, but they really do think that he can guard. And you know who doesn't think that he can guard him? Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a prime opportunity for him to just eat.
But it allows them to play 5 out. So, I mean, it's, of course, I don't even think Draymond thinks they can stop him. I just think they're like, you know what, but we're going to be small with Draymond at center, be able to put 4 spacers around. Now, Jokic going to be chasing Curry. We're at home. Curry can get going off. So I actually think it's really interesting. This is such a compelling matchup because we haven't actually seen this version of Jokic in the Nuggets versus that version of Draymond Green in the Warriors. We've only saw it when it was Facu Campazzo and Austin Rivers, but we've never seen it. And so I think it's cool. And also, by the way, Draymond Green, whatever you think of him, might be, maybe is the top Jokic respecter in the NBA. You guys know that? He respects the hell out of Jokic. He always gives him props. He always adds him when he's talking about guys in different contexts and stuff. He's a big-time Jokic respecter.
Yeah, his respect is in a different way, though, because he, like, you kind of respect his respect because he saw him when he was not as good as he is now.
Yeah.
He was, like, one of the first people to talk about the things that he needs to get better at. So he's seen him when he was not Jokic and when he is now Jokic, you know? So I think that I love that part of him to see, like, he's not as good as me, but he's a lot better than me now.
Yeah. The Warriors, 29-26 overall. They're 9th in the West, but they are surging. They're hot right now. 3-game winning streak. They're 2-0 post All-Star break. And all 3 of these latest wins have come with their new look starting 5. They've sent Klay Thompson to the bench. They're starting Brandon Podziemski, the rookie.
He's good, man. I like him.
And it's working out well for him. They've been starting Curry, Podziemski, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond Green.
Podziemski, man, this is going to sound so mean, and I don't even mean it. I actually mean it literally. Have you ever played with, like, the ChatGPT image generator?
Yeah.
You know how it's never very accurate? You say, like, make Mike Tyson, and it makes a guy kind of... Podziemski looks like that for Klay Thompson. Like, it looks like Mid-Journey made
He's like Gen Z Klay Thompson.
He's got the same headband and fro, but it's more curly-haired. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Panel loved that one.
That's what I got for game notes.
All right, we have to ask, who's going to eat tonight? Vote. Who's going to eat tonight?
Well, I've
Certainly not all the starving people that are desperate for food across the globe.
I one person here dressed for summer, okay? And it's me.
It's not summer.
Don't rain on my parade. I know, but it feels like it, and I'm loving it. All right, anyway, I didn't do it the last 2 games. I should have. I'm going to go with Michael Porter Jr. again, but I will say this. The Warriors are not that small with this lineup. They're not that small. Draymond is small at center.
Right.
Curry Pod's not the biggest front court. But those forwards, or backcourt, excuse me. But those forwards.
Kuminga's a beast, man.
Yeah, they're beasts. They have size, they have strength, they have athleticism. And so I will say both Porter and Aaron Gordon, I think, need to win their respective rebounding battles tonight. They need to be beasts on the glass. Porter's been that the last 2 games. I'm hoping he can beat today.
Yeah. Do you worry that you didn't pick MPJ 2 games in a row and he went off, and now you're picking him?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Is it possible it's you?
I've thought a lot about that, except for the fact that they won a championship last year.
They did do it.
How wrong could I be?
How well did he shoot from 3, though? In
Who
that?
cares? Did he defend well? I think so. Rebounded well.
I'm teasing you. Who's going to eat,
I'm
Dev?
mad.
I think this is an Aaron Gordon type of eat night. I just think that with all of the pressure on Jamal and KCP to have to try to defend Steph Curry, all of the attention on Jokic, I think that there's one guy that could just blend in and be very aggressive offensively, and I think it's Aaron Gordon. He also has not been a force on the rebounds, and I think that Draymond's going to try to make Jokic work extremely hard on that end of the floor. So I do think that this is an Aaron Gordon, go and get yours, because we're going to have somebody random on you.
No. I could see it. Kuminga has been playing really well. He's actually one of the main reasons for their resurgence.
Good,
he has really figured it out. And I said this on the All-NBA show with Legler. One of the things basketball gives you so many good storylines, you know, that are not always the top storylines. Kuminga was in an interesting place because Steve Kerr clearly did not trust him. And as a result, he kind of played selfishly. Like, because I think it was one of those things where it's like, I touch the ball 8 times a game. I'm shooting it when I get it. And then he demanded a trade. Do you guys remember this? And it forced, I think, this like reflection on both sides. And ever since then, Kerr has been starting him, been playing him heavy minutes. And as a result, he's been playing more unselfishly. And it's so funny how those things sometimes go hand in hand, where you almost have to like take the leash off for a guy to then go with the flow. And it's been a really good story, in my opinion. The Kuminga story has been very cool.
He's been playing really well. I think Nikola Jokic is going to eat tonight. I think he's going to feast tonight against Draymond Green. I mean, Draymond Green's an incredible defender, generational defender. Nikola Jokic doesn't really have that big of issues with him when the Nuggets have a healthy rotation, and that's what they have tonight. When the Nuggets are shorthanded, that presents some problems for Denver when, Nikola Jokic is going against Draymond Green, when they can really help down on him. But when the Nuggets are healthy, Draymond Green can't guard him one-on-one, and then if they bring help, he can just pass it out to Michael Porter or Jamal Murray. So I just think any way you cut it, this is going to be a big night for Joker.
I think it's a really strong bet tonight, Joker, because it is the size mismatch. But I'm going to go to the yin to the yang there, and I'm going to say Jamal Murray. Now, I'm worried about this one because of the shin splints. Who knows how good he is. But guarding the Jokic-Murray two-man game, there's so much about where do you overload. Do you help off of the sides? Do you overload on Jokic? Do you overload on Murray? I think because of the size mismatch, they're going to overload on Jokic a lot tonight. And I still think he's going to eat because I think that they should overload on Jokic. But I think that Murray is going to be the guy that gets a lot of he loves that hesitation. Like he pauses for a second like he's going to drop it off and instead gets to the cup. I think he's going to get a handful of those tonight. Podziemski can be a pretty good defender. He plays hard on that end. Steph, not necessarily so much. I think that, Gary Payton. Is Gary Payton playing tonight? Do we know?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So Gary Payton's a hell of a defender, and I think a great matchup, a great challenge for him. But outside of that, I think that he has a lot of favorable matchups and should get a lot of minutes against guys that should not be able to slow him down. So I'm going to go with Jamal Eaton tonight.
I think it's a good bet.
Narrative Week 2.0 starts today, fellas. The Nuggets, a couple softies coming out of the break. Nice little tune-ups. I would call them tune-ups. And they looked phenomenal. Yeah. We've been wondering how much of that is Nuggets, how much of that has just been the playing two terrible teams, and we're in tank season. So how much of it was that? Tonight we're going to find out. I love that the Warriors on the road are the first game of this stretch. After this game, you have do you pull it up here for us, Kale? Here we have Nuggets at Warriors, and then you come home for a couple ones. Kings, you owe the Kings. Michael Malone has talked about owing them.
That one, yeah.
You've got the Miami Heat, little rematch of the finals on a back-to-back. Then you get a 3-day rest going in. Oh, no, just a 1-day rest going into the Lakers. That one's always a good game, always a fun matchup. And then you get 3 days rest to come and host the Phoenix Suns. Another night off before you host the Boston Celtics. 6 really good teams in a row, measuring stick games. And the Nuggets currently sit, if we pull up the standings now, Kale, the Nuggets.
4.
What's that?
4 really good teams.
Lakers, Celtics. Those are the other two. If you look at it right now, Nuggets right now, 4th seed in the Western Conference, only 2 games back, and they have 1 in the loss column on the Clippers, 2 from both the Thunder and the Timberwolves. The loss column is really what you follow this time of year because you can't make up losses. You can make up wins, you can't make up losses. And then the Pelicans are 4 games behind them, and they're surging, and the Mavericks also 4 games, and they're surging. So when you play 6 tough games in a row, 4 games is a lot, but I don't think Denver's going to do this, but you could go 1-5 if you're not focused and not locked in here. Conversely, you make it through this stretch, it would remind me an awful lot of coming out of the All-Star break last year where they had some tough games, and let's see how they handle them. They handled business. Yep. And the next thing you know, they were in such great position. So as we look at that, Dev, as we look at the teams that they play, how do you feel about the Nuggets? Are they ready for this Narrative Week 2.0?
Well, first off, I just remember circling in that the Nuggets had a good stretch to end the season, having a weaker schedule. Nothing about that was weak. I'm actually very shocked that they have that many good teams that they're playing in a row. And all those teams are hot right now. So that was a shocker. It has to get super weak after that, or maybe I just made that up.
It does get a little weak. I mean, they do have some weak ones, especially really at the end. Their last 5 games, I think it gets pretty weak. The other thing about this, though, Dev, there's a lot of rest and they're all at home.
It's about the density of games.
So, I mean, that's a part of it is they're tough teams, but they are at home and you should be able to rest and get your legs under you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dev. Sorry.
But I was going to say, I think that they're ready for this. I think that this is the stretch that you have to be ready for, and that's a big thing of narrative. one conversation that I think is going to come out of that is this Nuggets team ready to repeat? If you have a big week here, everybody's going to be talking about repeating. Everybody's going to talk about this team is ready to, defend that, and they're going to be the favorite team going into the playoff stretch. But if you play bad here, that's where the narrative goes on the opposite end. You're going to be on the opposite side of it, where everyone's talking about this team is not as good as last year's team, or how much they need Bruce Brown, and just a lot of holes in this Denver team. So this is a good stretch to see if you got better or not. So this is big.
Yeah. I mean, this is the most important stretch of the season, no doubt, because if you make it through the stretch and you go 3-3 or 4-2, 5-1 would be awesome. Then, like you said, Adam, I think you're good. Then you can still be on your plan to rest guys down the stretch. You can still be on your plan to make sure the starting five is as healthy as possible throughout the playoffs. If you play poorly in this stretch, if you go under 500, all of a sudden, based on what New Orleans does, Dallas, Phoenix in the 5, 6, and 7 spots, all of a sudden you're looking at those teams and being like, man, dropping out of the top 4 looks a little more on the table than it did before this stretch.
Right.
And then your plans to rest people down the stretch and ensure health for the playoffs is in jeopardy. So you take care of business right now, you can set up the final month of the regular season how you want. That's why it's so important.
I love that take.
And I get the sense that they've circled this stretch of the season.
I do too.
With the comments they had coming out of the break, the way they approached those 2 games, which sure, not the best teams in the league, but they approached them like tune-up games. I thought Jokic in particular, there was a responsibility to the way he played those games. We're getting moving in the right direction, and it starts now. So I get the sense, like they did in the middle of the season last year, that they're thinking, this is when we kick it up a notch. This is when we hit another gear. And like Wynn said, hopefully the way this race plays out can fall into place for us if we take advantage right now.
I like your point about setting yourself up for the rest of the year, because if you look at the whole schedule, like, okay, it's not that bad of a schedule, but we can't do that. And you know who can really not do that? Michael Malone. For all of his strong qualities as a leader and as a coach, I do think he has a little panic in him. I do think he has a little, there's no doubt he comes out here and is like, we're not going to play Jokic too many minutes. We're not going to play Aaron Gordon at center. But you do get off to the wrong foot here. You go 0-3 or something.
Totally.
Guess who's playing 40 minutes, down the stretch? Guess who's playing backup center for the Nuggets?
Yep.
So I do think that you're right about setting the table here. Survive this part, and you could make up some games on the back end. I think it's big. But I think more than that, there's only one other really good stretch after this. Then they go on they have a couple, not easy games, but easier games. Then you have at Dallas, at Minnesota, the Knicks, and then some easy games. And then you have Phoenix, Minnesota, Cleveland. So you have 2 basically 3-game stretches where there's tough ones with some games in between those. So you do have games that can be statement games, but this is the only one that's a 6-game. This is a statement, 6 in a row. How consistently focused can you be for a bunch of tough games? And more importantly, or equally as importantly, they're spaced out. This will be the playoff Nuggets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A day or 2 days off of every game outside of one back-to-back. But outside of that, it's like 2 or 3 days off in between. This is where it's like, all right, let's see what you look like. And this is going to be what we expect you to look like in the playoffs. And it really is exactly like last year when they smacked Memphis, and we were like, okay, this team is ready for the playoffs, and then they shut it down.
And it's why I expect the starters to play heavy minutes, over the 6-game stretch. Because if you play well, you have, the last month and a half of the regular season to take it easy. Yeah. But Denver, the sense I got, like you said, voted, is they came out of the All-Star break wanting to quickly erase the 3-game losing streak that they went into it with. They wanted to take care of business. They were focused. They were locked in. And they did their job against 2 bad teams. And, we'll see if that carries over.
Let's pick a player now that we're hoping really shines over this 6-game stretch. If you could pick one, Dev, who would it be?
Jamal.
Yeah.
I think Jamal is the answer because this is as close as like a playoff stretch as there is. And we all know the type of player and enforcer he is in the playoffs. Like, he's the player that wins them series. That's literally the answer on if this Nuggets team repeats or not, is if Jamal Murray is himself in the playoffs. And that's one of the best players of all time. That's just the type of player that he is in the playoffs. But if he has a good stretch right now, you just feel okay. You feel confident. You feel complacent just saying, yeah, Jamal's going to be himself when it truly matters. And that's coming off of a injury. That comes off of these splints where it set him down a game. But I feel confident in knowing that when it matters the most, that's when he's at his best.
Yeah. I think you could pick also. Jamal is the right answer. I think you could also go to any player on the 3-4 man bench as well.
Yeah,
a Christian Brown, a Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji if he continues to play well.
Yeah, that would be huge.
That means Nikola Jokic doesn't have to play as much. Christian Brown is an interesting one for me. I feel like he's ramping up to the level of defense he was playing at last year, slowly but surely, and I think he's probably close to there right now. He's played great out of the All-Star break. He's been playing better over the last couple weeks of action. So, I mean, if by the end of the regular season, Christian Brown's at the level defensively that he was last year, or maybe even higher, like that's going to be really valuable in the playoffs.
I'm going to go with KCP.
Ooh.
I just feel like it's been a minute since his really high-level open three-point shooting has felt like a dynamic in this five-person offense. To his credit, lest it sound like I'm dropping the hammer, he's also turned it up a notch defensively, been even better there. So they're still best with him on the floor. But, man, he's not just a specialist defensively. That guy can shoot. And I think seeing a stretch of him feeling really confident and lighting it up from deep, much like MPJ, that's the stuff where then it's too easy for Jokic, like really, truly too easy, and you remember why they go 16-4. So I just love to see it from KCP. Even if I think they could survive not seeing it, I would love to for my confidence.
I think the right answer is Jamal, and I think we all kind of agree that Jamal is the only player that truly matters. Like, everybody matters, obviously, to play at a certain level, but if, for example, Christian Brown did not play well this whole year, I just feel like in the playoffs he'll do the job that's required of him. I'll feel more confident about that if he does play well, but whatever. To me, it's all Jamal. I want to see Jamal go out, and he has a good matchup. Steph Curry tonight. De'Aaron Fox coming up on Wednesday. You're going to get Booker and Beal. You're going to get Derek White and Drew Holiday. I want to see him go off against good guys and do it consistently. Have we seen 6 good great games from Jamal Murray in a row this year?
Probably not.
I don't know if we have. Like, truly good games. Not like a lack of bad games, but I mean games where we're like, man,
probably not.
Won the game for
there
him today.
hasn't been a definitive Jamal stretch this year.
I would love if it was the Jamal stretch, but if I had to go outside of that, you could go Michael Porter on this one because we talked about his three-point shoot. They just don't lose when he shoots well, and it would be nice if this was a stretch where we're like, oh, yeah, that's there. But I do think that Zeke Naji might be the answer, not because it's important for the playoffs, but because one potential narrative to come out of narrative week is the Nuggets starters look great, their playoff rotation looked great, but they went 2-4 because every time they rolled the bench out there, they got steamrolled. Yeah. And as a result, and it's the same story we've had all year.
Yeah, I don't know if they lost Bruce Brown this offseason.
No, they lost Bruce Brown. Yeah. They have a bench anymore. And I would love Zeke Naji to be able to play enough minutes for the Nuggets to be able to feel confident about what they're doing. When the bench gets steamrolled, it throws out every other storyline. Right. Every other storyline gets flushed down the toilet. Zeke playing well enough to be able to play these minutes would be a great story, and it would help them get through it. So, all right, let's open up the Bet365 Never Ordinary Sportsbook app. Turn our attention to Superstar Dev.
Let's go, Dev. Let's go.
Time to make some money. We made money in the last game. We made money. So it's time to do it again. Denver comes in this game as 2.5-point underdogs. The Warriors are
surprised by that.
They're one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now,
are.
though. They're playing really well. They're like 7-3 in their last 10 games. But the thing is, this is measuring stick week. This is the week that matters. Narrative 2.0. Denver's going to come out and they're going to play hard. This is going to be them at their best. I like Denver to cover. Also like Denver money line. You're going to take the 2.5, you might as well take the money line. I think that they get that done.
Right. I love it. You know
over.
What? I'm taking it.
I like the over of 230. High scoring game, but also this is the teams that can get it done. I do think that others step up. Both teams kind of have a good matchup with each other. The Warriors allow Jokic to score. The Nuggets allow KCP to get on Steph Curry, and he tries to get everyone else involved. So I think this is a high scoring game. I think this is going to be a good one. For the Warriors, I'm I'm just going to go ahead and take it over 32.5 points plus assist for Chef Curry. He gets his assist.
It's Steph Curry.
Chef.
You know, it's Steph is his name.
But I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Okay.
When we
Kind of
ask
a
for your
nickname.
stuff, you go for.
Okay. All right, yeah.
You go for. Chef Curry, 32.5 points plus assist. They make sure to get him the ball every single time. He can have a hot game. He could get this with points alone. Denver makes sure that they get the ball out of his hands. So I do think if you're going to do a bet, you might as well get the assist. I think he's going to score. So 32.5, I think that's a little bit too easy. This team is also very different when Draymond's there. Like, they make sure to set extra screens and get him involved. Also, like, over 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Draymond. They'll ask him to do a lot, and Denver will force him to score. So it's really about the scoring because you know that the rebounds and assists will be there, especially if he's on Jokic. So like both of those to happen. For Denver, what you guys all came for, I think there's people that come for that other side. I'm hitting at a high clip.
Dev, I love the other side of things.
It hits. The other side of things hits.
Yeah, it does.
All right, whatever.
Facts.
For Denver, Jamal, over 2.5 3-pointers. I love it.
I love that bet.
Welcome
You know
back.
I love it.
And he steps up in these type of games.
Such a
They
risky
also
call,
try
but-
to find so many ways to try to hide Curry against them, even though Curry is an improved defender. He can't guard Jamal, and Jamal knows it. So I like the over 2.5 3-pointers. I think he's aggressive in this game on his way back. Also think that he has over 6.5 assists and gets others involved while setting the table. So if you want to get 3-pointers, yes. Points plus assists for Jamal, yes, because the assist is going to hit us at 6.5. I've been loving what I've been seeing from Michael Porter Jr. in the last few games. Just aggressive offensively, taking some confident shots, where he looks like he's just part of the offense. Let's go over 2.5 3-pointers. I think that they leave him open a few times. Adam loves when this one hits, so maybe that puts me in it every single time.
Yeah.
Vogt goes crazy downstairs. He runs around, gets on top of tables. It's wild. It's a scene. It's entertaining. I like Jokic over 12.5 rebounds with all the shots that the Warriors are going to take. He's there. It's also Draymond Green is guarding him. That's extra rebounds. Like, you could only box out so much.
Okay, 12.5.
I feel like
Aaron
light work, man.
Gordon over 21.5 points plus rebounds.
Everybody's eating tonight. All right.
It's an escape valve for them. I think that Jokic is going to make sure that he finds them. I think the points are going to come easy. If you're going to just try to commit to Jokic not being on the boards, you might as well get Aaron Gordon on the boards. I think that he's just going to just take over. A few oops. He'll get it from points.
A few.
But I think that he gets other things as well. I like over Murray, 1.5 steals for our defensive bet. 1.5 steals.
1.5?
Yeah, I think that they think he's out of shape. They make some extra passes that they should not make.
Okay.
I
They've
like
been
that.
watching the show a lot.
I like
Wow.
that
That's all I'm
Right.
saying, man. That's all I'm
realize
saying.
that.
Draymond, he's in tune.
Yeah.
He's online. Was it New Media?
That's right.
Yeah,
New
he's
media.
the leader of the
online.
new media.
New Media.
He does a
And
podcast.
for the lock, we've been seeing Jokic get back to being Jokic and just truly
Yes, let's
dominating.
go.
I think he dominates once again. Warriors don't pose the same, like, the matchup problem that they have.
Yeah.
And I think that he takes advantage. So I think he scores easily.
Yeah.
I already said he's going to get the 12.5 rebounds.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a few easy baskets to Aaron Gordon. Guess what that means?
Triple-double?
Triple-double is the lock.
All
He
right.
seems to be chasing that again. I love when he wants the triple-doubles. I think he's going to get it. Triple-double for the lock of the game.
I feel like you just fed me. I'm eating right now. These are all my favorite bets. If you would have said, and lastly, Christian Brown, 0.53s, I'd have been like, what are we doing? Unbelievable.
This is for me especially.
Yeah.
This is like church.
I'm telling you, man. I'm
It's
feeling it
for
on a
me
Sunday.
especially, even though you talk to everybody else.
We got some super chats.
Cedric Exquisite. Curry sucks. Clay sucks. Dre sucks. Kerr sucks.
Oh, this is going to be an easy win then.
Easy one,
This is going to be an easy win.
Ulysses Ventura. Jokic triple-double streak. ×3. Smoking Warriors. Pack.
Let's do it, man.
Ulysses
He's feeling
even
it.
thinks a triple-double is happening.
Cedric Exquisite. Wind. Vision. Vote. Ant-Man. Dev. War Machine. Cat laughing face 4 times.
All right.
Nico Perez.
The War Machine.
Who is on your Jokic bully list? Who does he own the hardest? I got 1 Valanciunas, good
That's a
pick.
good one,
2
yeah.
Ayton, 3 Nurkic, 4 Gobert, and 5 AD. Much love, boys.
I love that he just
Just to randomly throw it in there, I think Vooch is on that list.
Vucevic, yeah.
He kind of goes at him.
And one more from our guy Bashir. Let's go Nuggets. Lakers Warriors sweep. # real
Sweet.
gold.
Did we talk about the fact that they've beat them like 5 times in a row or 6
I
times in a row?
think it's like 6, yeah.
That's big.
That's
big time.
Yeah. That is big time. All right, everybody, we're going to go down for the Miller Lite watch party that we have in the
Miller
DNVR
time.
bar
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. So we're going to head out. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you on the other side.